Hey guys, welcome to the final program, the final session for this virtual dating coach. And I'm just gonna end it with some very simple advice about closing the deal, AKA having sex, okay? So at this point, last week or 2 weeks, we spoke about actually having girls, how to get girls to your house quick as possible, you know, the way to set up the dates. But let's talk about what to do when you're in the house. Again, seduction is a two-way thing. There's two ways to do seduction. There's end game seduction and there's full game seduction, right? End game seduction is when you basically take the girl to the house and you have to use a lot of seduction skills to sleep with her because you haven't done anything to seduce her before. Maybe you had kissed her, maybe you didn't even kiss her yet. So that's like end game seduction. It's more difficult, it's more chancy, but it's still worth doing if you have no other choice. And then there's full game seduction, where full game seduction is more where you already set it up so that way by the time she reaches your house, she's already horny and she's already ready for sex. So those are two different things, two different ways of seduction. Obviously, you always want to try for the full game seduction. However, a lot of time when you're learning pickup and learning game, you're not going to always have the romantic connection with the girl, and you still need to figure out some way to be a closer, okay? So even if you watch me game sometime, you'll notice that even some of my victories have been situations where I didn't even kiss the girl yet, and she's in my house, and I'm like, ah! But that's how I got her still. And other situations, everything just flows nicely as a dominant effect stated, all right? But no matter what, whether dominant effect or no dominant effect, or romantic connection, no romantic connection, you always want to be a closer. You always want to be going for the bottom line, and this is the type of mentality you have to have, right? You want to be that basketball player who always takes a last-minute shot, no matter how bleak it seems. You're always going to go, you're going to take that last shot, right? The same thing with seduction and when you're meeting girls. Don't assume that you're going to see her again. Always assume that you may not see her again. That's the best mentality to have. There's been countless of girls that I had to my place when I first started where I felt like, oh, well, since we're kissing now in my house, I can see her again easily and she's going to come. That doesn't always happen. As a matter of fact, it's 50-50. You never know. So instead of chancing it, figure out how to optimize your odds now and get her invested and get her sexually invested now, okay? So that's very important, okay? That being said, let's talk about some very quick things you can do, which is by you, okay? Simple techniques. I'm gonna focus more on endgame today because endgame is really important. Endgame has to do with when you don't have a romantic connection yet, she's in your house. A lot of times, if you're skillful enough or socially crafty, or even from Soul Circle to go to your place, it's like, let's say nothing really happened romantically yet, but you got to your place still. The first thing you want to do, obviously, your goal is just to continue being very touchy-feely, be very playful. I would suggest doing things like dancing, like to music, make sure there's only a bed to sit down on, and a lot of time I would just like start playing with them. Like you could do pillow fights, you know, try to get really playful, show her cool little martial art moves, let her show some dance steps, stuff like that. Very playful, innocent, but touchy, very close things. This really helps to create sexual tension. Even sometimes if a girl doesn't like you, the fact that you're in that situation with her and she's turned on, she will still have sex with you anyway. Then sometimes, just by her having sex with you, can make her like you after that. So it's really crazy, right? So that happens sometimes. Other times, you know, you would want to build up. Now, the whole purpose of the romantic connection, when you have a romantic connection, sex happens a lot easier. It just falls in your lap, generally speaking. Now, it doesn't mean that the girl would be 100% open legs for you, like open sesame, and you just go in. It's not always like that. But if you push a few times, she generally will give in. You know, so that's I want to make that very clear. Whereas endgame, when you do endgame seduction, and it's a little bit different. You have to build everything up in the bedroom, which is okay, but it's just more work. So those are two different seductions. Now, again, we cover this a lot more in detail in the step-by-step, in the whole Domino Effect trilogy, especially in the Domino Effect itself, the product, the part 3. We have a whole section on seduction, a whole hour and a half, 2-hour presentation on seduction alone, right? Where we talk about all the small intricacies. But this is just, a quick, simple guide just to get you guys acclimated and understand if it's 12-part series. I really want to make sure that you guys understand and you guys get it, okay? So this is really, really important. Another thing that you want to make sure is a few little tips. Let's say if you're already making out with her and you're already kissing her, there's a technique I like what's called dry humping, which basically, a lot of times girls have a natural alarm in their brain when you try to touch their vagina. right? Like an alarm comes on and they with their hand. Something about the hand that's kind of a turn off the girls. So if you notice, for example, you could hug a girl and her breast could touch your chest and it's okay. But if you put your hand there, it's not. So when it comes to seduction, you want to do things that you know you can get away with, but still turn her on. So I remember a long time ago, I was dancing with a girl and I noticed that, you know, like, basically she would grind on me. Like she would grind her pussy under my jeans while she was dancing with me. But if I put my hand close to her, she'll move it. So I kind of thought to myself, wait, interesting. So what if I really, on purpose, consciously use this technique in seduction where, you know, I'm making out with her and I'm mimicking sex, right? By, you know, like let's say if you get an erection, you feel hard, you rub it in between the legs, right? While you're on top of her and mimic sex, you make out. You want to mimic sex as much as possible too, right? Not just rubbing, but mimic the sound as well. You want to make noises, but by doing all this stuff, it helps to mimic sex and makes her feel like she's having sex already. Another great tip to do is, you know, this is an old classic one, but you know, you lift up your shirt and lift up her shirt a little bit too, while being on top and dry humping, and have your skins touching, because the only place that really happens for man to woman is sex. It's subconscious, it's biological. Another thing you can do as well, sometimes if I'm in a rut, just sometimes this might sound crazy, but let's say you're making out for a while, she's giving you a hard time. Sometimes all you have to do is just, when in doubt, whip it out, which means just take it out, see what she does. There's been times where a girl said no, and I just took it out, and then all of a sudden her mind changed, right? So that could happen as well. There's different techniques you can do. Another thing I do sometimes is I'll say, I'll use the it's hot technique. So as soon as they come in the house, whatever, I'll just take off my shirt, right? Because me taking my shirt implies a certain level of comfort, right? It implies that more of a sexual level of comfort, maybe. The fact that my shirt's off and plus I'm playing with her, right? And I noticed that most of the time, like sometimes it's okay for you to take your clothes off first, or at least one part, like your shirt first, and it's easier for her to take off her shirt. You know, like, I would do stuff like that to make it easier, to make seduction all around easier for the girl. So these are great techniques that you can use off the bat, and I really hope you enjoy this virtual dating program. You know, very informational again, and all the intricacies and details are in the product and on the VIP section. And again, you could submit any of your videos, anything that you want to us, and I'd be happy to look at them and help critique your game to get you in a better spot. So see you guys at the top as usual as I fly away.